Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to the SWAN Pricing Show. My name is Filip Vucic. I'm a pricing mentor.
And I feel Zolota. I'm the business mentor.
So, today we want to talk about the monster, right? The monster of markets. Yeah. Specifically, when people say, "Oh, I can't charge that much," the market won't bear it. Like it's a person, like it's a a movie villain with an agenda. Haha, no, you don't.
Yeah, it's the big boss in Diablo 3 when you
Yes.
are 80 level barbarian, something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so I mean, I know there are contexts specifically in what we call the dark world, in the commoditized world and commoditized services. And sure, there's some regulations, usually about the minimum prices, by the way.
Mhm.
So charging more than that is usually not a problem. And of course, the price elasticity works differently there, right? When you don't really care who is the service provider, and there's vast quantities of things like that just lying around, you can just choose whoever because they're completely interchangeable, completely fungible, as they say. Yes, then the prices have an elastic effect, so people run toward somebody else with the exact same offering but for the less price. But this is not the SWAN world. This has nothing to do with expertise based services, who are like, and people say, well, I'm not the best around, right? There's better people. Yes. Are they available? Are they even reachable by your clients? Usually not.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even if they can reach them, they can't pay them. So, and I say, usually it's like being a mom, right? You don't have to be objectively the most efficient mom in the world to be the best mom in the world to the people that you're dedicated to being a mom, right?
Yeah.
So objectively, that one lady in I don't know Barcelona is much more efficient than your mom, but your mom is always going to be your mom, right? Because our value is based more on trust than on efficiency, and that's the way it should be, right? Um, so in this case, the market monster is actually a scarecrow. It's moth-eaten. It's old, and it can't actually do anything. And if you just charge more than it's usually done, then exactly nothing happens. And usually people don't even know about this. And even if they do, and you wanted to talk something about that, and even if they do, the only thing that you do is move the averages a little upwards. So you become the market maker, not the market dictator. You're never going to be Coca-Cola, and that's fine. That's not why we're in the business. But you're not the market taker anymore. You're not the milk farmer that comes up and somebody says, you can get this one for, this much for this grade, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can sell or not sell, right? So that's not how our markets work at all, right? You had a good example of people being afraid of their market, their prices being known after they split with a client or something like that.
Yeah. It's kind of common situation when people are splitting and going part ways in terms of business collaboration. Then there is some kind of
Jedva te čujem.
resentment for any reason.
Jedva te čujem, Filipe. Jedva te čujem.
Sada?
Puno bolje.
Ne znam zašto.
Ok. Možda je na far stavljeno. Meni to zna biti.
Može biti, da. Čudno. Ok, kaj si zadnje dobro čuo?
Sam počni ponovno ovo kad se ljudi splite.
Aha, okay. Yeah, when people are splitting in terms of business collaboration, quite often situation is there is some kind of at least small resentment from the client said, they were charging us this amount or that amount. It's completely unimportant because baseline was your trustworthy relationship and you were paying for the results. So you are now just wasting your time and energy, seeing somebody else is being pricey or whatever. It's completely unimportant. And on the professional side perspective, meaning for the expert, it's completely irrelevant if somebody will be saying, the guy ripped me off, I was paying him so much of this or that. Completely unimportant because you have engaged and started a business collaboration based on trust, and you gave the solution to your respective client and customer, and you confirmed that you are professional in the respectable field, and that's it. Everything else is completely unimportant and just gibberish. People need to speak and talk about something, and that's it. In this specific case,
comparison is ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
His heart surgery costed more than my heart surgery. Yes.
Okay. Are you actually alive? Okay. Then that should be.
You have different hearts. It's fine. It's completely fine, right? It's not like those kinds of comments make sense if what we do is perfectly replaceable, perfectly fungible, and it's not, so they don't make sense. Sorry, if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one cool example. You have to remind that specific case and scenario. With one of our dear partners and friends, when we were starting business collaboration, they asked from the agency perspective, they asked from us to give them some estimate for the cooperation. And when they got our document, the proposal, they called me and said, you are more expensive than this agency. Yeah, you are lucky because our prices could be higher. that was only response from my end, and that was the start of goofing around, joking around, and we set up the system and namespace for collaboration and definitely in a positive way. So I mentioned that simply due to the situation, people have the tendency to make comparisons.
Yes.
But those elements, as you mentioned now and today previously, cannot be compared in the expertise-based world. We need to have clear,
people are going to
tangible, quantifiable elements so we can make any kind of comparison. But in most cases, it is impossible to be done.
We talked about several times about candy versus medicine, right? Yeah. This antidepressive is more expensive than candy of the same color. Yes, it is. So what? It doesn't do. I also one comparison that was made for me a long time ago, but still, the guy said, well, they paid me per hour back then. That was a long time ago. They said, so if I calculate your per hour, it turns out that you would cost more than the most expensive something if I employed him, right? And I said, yes, you're paying for like 3 hours a pop. If you want me to price me working on this project for 40 hours a week, I mean, I'm not inclined to do that, but it would be a different price. Because there you're guaranteeing that you're going to pay them a paycheck for like at least 6 months. So you're taking a lot of risk on, which you don't have with me.
Exactly. Right? I have also one cool case also from the agency perspective, as one of the services is simply developing private business networks on global scale, international market, and everything else. So we were discussing about potential collaboration with one company, and they're very interested in that respectable service. And in the moment when we got to the stage of talking about the numbers, but maybe for us would be even better and cheaper to employ full-time person who would be doing the sales, etc. If you're looking at that from that basic perspective, but on the other side, you need to compare it with this situation. You need at least 3 years for that person to get into the position to be able to do what we can do immediately. The opportunity cost, the payroll, meaning the salary, etc., 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 etc. Yeah, you are right. Captain Obvious.
Yes, and it's much harder to get rid of a bad fit employee than it is for a bad fit agency, at least in Europe. But it is. So if things are for any kind of reason, if things are not working out, you just end it. Okay, that's not what you can do for employees. So there's a lot of risk profiling going on here, right? So the comparison argument is basically the one that completely nullifies the role of the market. The market won't bear it. It's nothing for us. For us, I'm not saying it's nothing for oil. It is. I'm not saying it's nothing for bullets or for insurance. Yes, there's strict ways in which you can price insurance. There's a very good reason for that, but we have nothing to do with that. We don't sell in a way. It's just like the impulse prices don't really work. So it's not $1,000. It's a 999.99 for a course. What?
You need to finish with number 7. You forgot that.
Yes. So that works for impulse buys, for the things on a cash register or some knickknacks on eBay. Sure, that's gonna work, but it's not. So if you, I think there was a couple of commercials here for cars being sold like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, unless you have somebody impulse buying a Toyota. So that's probably not the
Give me
biggest
5 of
use
them
case.
today.
Yes, yes, for the kids. One for each finger. So just because something works in real estate doesn't mean it works in our area or something works on. So, but in our area, the market is a scarecrow, nothing more. So it's a statistic. It's a bunch of records of general recollection of how things are going right now. And one of the good arguments for this that it doesn't save you if a big change comes. So suddenly when Corona came, all of the established prices went down immediately. So nobody said, no, you have to pay me at least the market price. No. What are you going to do about that? Nothing? Good. Take it or leave it. Right? So if it has no strength to prevent breaking through minimums, it shouldn't have any strength for doing the other thing around, right? So I know that for some people who are listening, they could be subject to some minimum rules, and that's fine. We don't want price dumpers anyway, but we're not talking about charging less. Yeah. We're talking about charging more. So I think there's very few. So public notaries in Croatia, yes, and that's its own thing. But other than that, very few have like maximum rules, and even then, sometimes they exist, but everybody ignores them, and it's an open secret because nobody is really threatened by somebody else getting more money, especially among colleagues. So nobody really enforces that. Going below, yes, absolutely cool. Don't do that. Going above, look, good job if you can get it.
Yeah, whatever you can hit.
Exactly. So just like with like margins, which I think we talked about, the market is a holdover from talking about pricing in purely duck terms, so commoditized terms. And I think Blair Enns says in his pricing creativity book, it's hard to imagine anything further away from a commodity than a great idea or a piece of transformative advice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the anti-commodity, right? Because it has to be tailored, because it has to be at the right time, because it has to be from a specific person to a specific kind of person. And it's not transferable. You can't take a good advice given to one client and give it tomorrow to another client in the same industry for it to have the same effect. It could actually spoil it for both. So just this is one of the reasons that I tease engineers with by saying marketing is not as simple as rocket science. It's not that there are no rules. There are rules. Well, more like actual guidelines, as Jack Sparrow would say. But there are some things that shouldn't be done. They're just not stable, and they're not transferable, and they're not easily replaceable, let's say. And for these reasons, I would say treat the market as scary as the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. It has no brain. Don't worry about it. Maybe it can appear to speak, but it's of no consequence, right? Cool. Do you have anything to add?
Well, nothing at this point. We made
Okay.
a cool circle around it. The only thing maybe what I wanted to mention, it's kind of the topic around the value perspective. Sometimes when I'm talking about this topic with the people, we were playing and I'm playing around the perceived value and the artist, for example, or how much the artist, not necessarily crazily known, but professional, is asking for one specific brief move which lasts for, I don't know, several seconds. What is the price tag of that service? It is everything about the perceived value. And also in the same time, that person who is ready to pay crazy amount for that creation is not ready to pay something else. It is always about us being accountable for the value we present, communicate, and how the client is perceiving what we are actually building. If we are being focused on making only the bullet points, what will be done technologically speaking, it's completely irrelevant. We always need to focus on the value and communicate that perspective to the client, and that will also be one of the winning arguments in making this specific deal what you have on the table easier to close. That is the only thing I wanted to mention, maybe.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Where can people find you, Philip?
People can find me on LinkedIn and also on my mentorship page, philipzalota.com.
Right, LinkedIn as well for myself, and YouTube more and more, and some of the other platforms, but mainly, as you say, on fearless-pricing.com. Right, thank you for being here with us for another SWAN Pricing Show. See you next time.
See you, take care.